Welcome back, everyone, to our UP PGT Economics 2013 paper series. This is part 3, and you know what that means. We're about to tackle the next 10 crucial questions, from 21 all the way to 30. So, are you ready to put your knowledge to the test? Let's get right into it.
So, are you ready for the next 10 important questions? Let's treat this like a mini mock test, just you and me. I'll present the question and the options, you can pause and pick your answer, and then we'll break it down together. Let's see how you do.
Okay, our first section for today is microeconomics. The next 5 questions are really going to test your core concepts related to firms, costs, and employment. These are absolute fundamentals, so let's see just how solid your preparation is.
First question is all about those cost curves. The question is, marginal cost, or MC, is equal to average cost, or AC, at the point where AC is what? Is it 0, at its minimum, increasing, or decreasing? Take a moment and think about it.
And the correct answer is option B, अपने न्यूनतम पर होती है. This highlights a fundamental rule of economics. The marginal cost curve always intersects the average cost curve at its lowest point, at its minimum. That's why MC equals AC precisely at the point where AC is at its absolute minimum.
Let's move to the next one. Question number 22. The classical theory of employment is based on which assumptions? Is it full employment, perfect competition, no government intervention, or all of the above?
Absolutely right. The answer is D, upyukt sabhi. The classical theory is built on the whole idea of a self-regulating market, and that core belief rests on 3 key pillars: that the market has perfect competition, the economy naturally moves towards full employment, and that the government should not intervene at all.
All right, question number 23 is about a monopolist's decision-making. In the short run, when does a monopolist shut down production? When its selling price falls below which of these? Average cost, marginal cost, average variable cost, or average fixed cost?
The correct answer here is option C, average variable cost. This is all about the famous shutdown rule. Think of it like this. Your fixed costs, like the factory rent, are already sunk. Now, as long as your selling price covers the variable cost of making each item, like the raw materials, it makes economic sense to keep producing, even if you're at an overall loss. But the moment your price drops below your average variable cost, you start losing more money with every single item you sell. At that point, as the slide shows, it's better to hit the off switch and stop production.
Question 24. According to classical theory, which of the following can be an obstacle or a hurdle in achieving full employment? A flexible wage rate, a flexible price, voluntary unemployment, or an inflexible interest rate?
The correct answer is D, Garya Lakshel Biajdar. See, according to the classical view, for full employment to happen, total savings must equal total investment. And what's the mechanism that balances these two? It's the interest rate. Think of it as the price of capital. If the interest rate isn't flexible and can't adjust to market conditions, then the balance between savings and investment gets thrown off, becoming a major roadblock on the path to full employment.
And the final question for this section. In perfect competition, what does a firm's demand curve look like? Downward sloping, upward sloping, parallel to the x-axis, or parallel to the y-axis? This is a classic question.
And the answer is C, parallel to the x-axis. This brilliantly illustrates a key feature of perfect competition. In this market structure, firms are price takers, not price makers. They simply have to accept the market price, they can't change it. Therefore, the demand for the firm's product is perfectly elastic, which means its demand curve, which is also its average revenue curve, is a perfectly horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis.
Great work. All right, let's move on to our second section now, public finance. The next 5 questions are going to focus on key concepts of taxation, government income, and the budget. Let's dive in.
Question number 26. Which of the following is not a source of government revenue or public income? Is it government borrowing, subsidies, taxes, or the surplus from public sector enterprises? If you understand the difference between income and expenditure, this one should be easy.
The right answer is B, upadan, or subsidy. The concept is crystal clear. Public income means money coming into the government, like from taxes, government borrowing, or profits from public companies. But a subsidy is money paid out by the government to people or companies. It's a government expenditure, not an income.
Question 27. This is a factual question from the history of economics. Who was the first economist to suggest imposing an expenditure tax? Your options are J. Hicks, Dalton, N. Caldor, and Musgrave.
And the correct answer is C. N. Koldor. Professor Nicholas Koldor was a famous economist who suggested that instead of taxing people's income, we should tax their expenditure, or their spending. He actually presented this concept specifically in his report on Indian tax reforms.
Next question is about the Laffer curve. What is the relationship that this curve shows? Look at the options carefully, because this one can be a little tricky.
The correct answer is tied to the idea that sometimes lower tax rates can lead to higher revenue. This is the core concept of the Laffer curve. The economist Arthur Laffer explained that there's an inverted U-shaped relationship between tax rates and tax revenue. Up to an optimal point, increasing the tax rate increases revenue. But what happens after that? If you keep increasing the rates, people's behavior changes. They find ways to avoid taxes, or their incentive to work decreases, causing tax revenue to actually fall instead of rise. It's a really powerful concept in fiscal policy.
Question number 29. The budget is an instrument, or a tool, of which of these policies? Fiscal policy, monetary policy, economic policy, or export policy?
The correct answer is A. Fiscal policy. In simple terms, fiscal policy is the government's strategy for managing its spending and income, and the budget, along with tax policy and public expenditure, are its most important tools. It's through these that the government tries to achieve goals like economic stability and full employment.
And now for our final question of the day. Which type of tax is most helpful in reducing income inequalities? A proportional tax, a progressive tax, or a regressive tax?
And the absolutely correct answer is B. Pragatishil kur, or progressive tax. As the name suggests, it progresses. In this system, as your income increases, the tax rate applied to you also progresses, meaning it gets higher. This leads to higher earners being taxed more and lower earners being taxed less, which directly helps in reducing income inequality in a society.
And with that, we have solved another 10 important questions. Congratulations! Make sure you revise all the concepts we discussed today, from cost curves and classical theory to different tax systems. If you found this explainer helpful, please hit that like button and share it with your fellow aspirants. We'll be back very soon with Part 4. Until then, keep up the great work and happy study.